5 p.m. and I'm about to enter the door to my house. I just finished school, so I'm exhausted, but that is the least of my problems. Through the door, I hear it. I hear my dad yelling, and he's yelling at my mom. I can't make out what the argument is about this time, and I debate whether or not I should come in. I decide to come in. I breathe in, I carefully look around, and I don't even have time to take off my shoes before my dad screams at me. He yells at me to move out of his way. Why? Because he's taking the stuff my mom cherishes the most, putting it in a box, and taking it to the dumpster. He's yelling, I'm thinking, bro, how do you even come up with an insult like that? Why would you even call my mother that, bro? Why are you such a fucking kid? I sort of awkwardly speed walk into my room to get away from the argument. My brother's already in there, lying face down on his bed with a pillow over his ears, trying to drown out the screams of my dad. I follow suit. I'm so exhausted, I'm not trying to hear this little retarded ass baby yell at the top of his fucking lungs because someone didn't buy him a Pepsi. As I lie there with the muffled screams in the background, I think about how much I hate my dad, how much he beat me as a child, how much suffering he made me go through. I remember a time where he held me dangling by the feet upside down after I called him a liar when he was gaslighting my mom. I'm remembering a time where my dad was screaming at my grandma so loudly that the police were called. My brain keeps thinking about how my dad sucks and how all I wish for is just for a better family. Or at least for my suffering to end. If you relate to that story, I'm sorry, but you have a narcissist as a parent, and I know exactly how much suffering you go through. I know the feeling of holding back tears as you listen to the muffled yelling, the feeling of just wanting to run away, never come back, and just forget about that piece of shit forever, right? I know that feeling because I was there too. I know how much it fucking hurts having a shitty family tormenting you all the time. That you don't have a safe place to go, that you struggle even coming home because you don't want to deal with that bullshit. I know how it fucking feels. So if you need someone to talk to, someone relatable, someone who actually dealt with that shit and figured out a way to climb out of that hell, I could give you some advice. Send me a DM on Discord. I got you. So how do you actually deal with this family? How do you actually make the situation better? First, I have to explain what not to do. When my family was suffering from my dad's torment, I tried my absolute hardest to alleviate the suffering from my mom and my brother. And by that, I mean that I did all the housework. I did most of the cooking, I did most of the cleaning, I did most of the laundry. I did most of the housework so my mom and brother wouldn't have to be stressed about doing the housework when they were already stressed about my dad. This made me take on more suffering than I could handle. At first it was fine because I was helping out my mom and brother, but then the pressure of trying to survive my narcissistic father and trying to make the situation better by doing all the housework made me lose my sanity and made me daydream about running away and ending my suffering. When I was trying to make things better in my family, when I was trying to do all the housework, I was doing it under the assumption that my shitty family will change. I was hoping that someday my dad would be nicer, stop abusing us, and I wouldn't have to take on the extra chores that I was doing. But I didn't understand that narcissists like my dad will never change. So me taking on more work to alleviate the pain and suffering from my mom and brother would mean that I would permanently be taking on the stress of 3 people combined, which led me to the worst mental health I've ever had in my entire life, leaving me inches away from suicide. While that is better than hiding in the bathroom and holding back tears, there is a method that solves the issue of having a shitty family in the short term and in the long term, and it does not cost you your sanity. Instead of focusing on how to improve your shitty family, focus on actually improving yourself. Instead of focusing on how do I make things better in my family, focus on how do I make my own life better. Focus on exercising, mental health, business, and use the idea of escaping your family as motivation. Every time your parents start arguing and you find yourself hiding in your room like a little bitch, treat that as a reminder that you need to lock in. And when you work on yourself instead of working on maintaining the family, you indirectly set up your family for the future, and it keeps your mind off the stress of trying to maintain a shitty ass family. And don't worry about the family falling apart. It's literally not your problem. That's something your parents will take care of, even when it doesn't seem like it. And you have to trust me on that. I know it feels like if you're not there, the whole family's gonna fall apart. Trust me, it's not. You just have to trust me on that. Now, if you don't know what stuff you need to work on, you don't know what to do for self-improvement, or you're trying to, but you just keep on failing and failing, and you just need someone to take you by the hand and guide you, I got you, bro. Send me a DM on Discord, and I'll give you some good-ass advice. Advice that came from someone who actually dealt with the shitty-ass family, aka me.